Hello and welcome to day 85. So let's find an opponent and begin. And we have the white pieces. All right, so e4, e5. So we attack their pawn. Okay. The Petrov. Now, I see some newer players are pushing that knight away, so should we try that? Or do we just, we'll just go immediately like this, then attack, and go ahead and castle, and line up on that knight. All right, so now, do we add another piece to that knight immediately? Well, that would block our bishop in. So, do we go here? All right, so he's defending. We can attack that knight now. All right. So now what? Will he attack our bishop here? Or will he pin our knight with his bishop, develop his bishop and pin our knight? Oh, we do have this. Well, no, we can't do that yet. Need to figure out where to put this bishop. All right. Well, we could block. So let's do that. Let's block. Then we can attack his bishop. Now he could bring his queen out here and pile up on our knight, and then we would have to drop back here. Okay, so he is doing that. So we'll go ahead and do that. Then we can attack his bishop by pushing forward here. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that and see what he decides to do next. Now, he could back up here. Then what do? We attack him again maybe, but that could weaken our king side. Okay, so he does go there. What should we do next? Well, let's see. All right, so I got to think a little bit now. Do we want to, excuse me, Do we want to push forward here with g4, chasing him back? That could kind of weaken our king side a little bit. But I don't know, it would kick him back. Then we could attack him with our bishop, which, you know, he would probably capture. Maybe. All right. We can't do that because then our knight would be undefended. So maybe we just bring our queen up. Bring our queen up here and connect our rooks. And then we can threaten to chase this queen with our bishop. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And we'll just see what he decides to do next. All right. So what should he probably do? He could try and start piling up on this E file. All right, interesting. This leaves a little escape hatch for his king. Well, now, do we have the possibility of just attacking his bishop? If the bishop moves, then what if we push forward, attacking the queen and the pawn? You know, if he captures, we capture, attacking his queen. But then we have an opening here, and this pawn would be weak. So a lot to think about here. Is there a way to attack? Should we just go after this pawn here? Do we push forward here? No, that would let his knight come down. All right, well, how do we make progress here? Okay, once again, we'll look at this. If we push forward, attacking his bishop, then the bishop takes this nice diagonal here. So if we push forward, he has to retreat. Then we go forward, attacking the queen. The pawn could capture. We attack his queen, but then his queen could move down, attacking this pawn. Then what do? Then we move this and attack his queen, but the... All right, we'll just start attacking. I don't know about this move. It's a little suspect, but at least we'll get some kind of attack underway. I don't know. It kind of weakened our king side, so this will probably decide the game, whether we get some advantage with some momentum going or not. You know, and now we could even get our knight jumped up into this position. problem is that the queen could just move here and attack this pawn now. Which I guess I could defend with my bishop. Maybe no. Let's see. If he does that, do I jump my knight up here and attack? Oh, but then he'll threaten a mate over here. If he moves his queen up here, do we go ahead and attack? Let's see. If he moves his queen here, we could fork his queen and bishop, but then he could capture this, threatening a mate in one here. But I don't know, at least we're getting an attack going. Let's see. This is going to be a crazy situation here. He could just play it safe, capture this, but then my knight could jump forward. So he probably should capture with this pawn. If he doesn't, then what could we do? We could capture here, then capture again. But the problem is he could come down here, move his queen, capture this, then attack the knight, try to knock it out, and threaten a mate over here, which could be dangerous. So at least they're thinking, because there's a lot going on in this position here. I don't know. This looks a little... I'm not 100%... I don't have 100% faith in this little attack here because of this pawn being weak. I mean, I guess I could step my king just up here to protect the knight, but then he could pin it with the bishop. So, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking is maybe his best move is to play queen to f5 to attack this pawn. Then what do? Do I protect it or let it go? Oh, wait, I should go up here. And then that would give me room to swing my rook over to here to help guard it. Okay, well that is interesting. All right, well, I should move my king up and guard. Oh, but that could give him time to just push his pawn forward. And I don't know if that's going to be good or not. So, do I defend? Do I take time to defend here, or do I continue attacking? If I go here, his queen could jump down here. All right, we'll go there. We'll defend that pawn. But now he could push his pawn forward. All right, so he does pin there, as was expected. Now, do we capture over here? That is the question. Do we capture? Or do we ignore that and swing a rook over? Ignore and swing a rook over, because if he captures this, right now we'll be okay if he captures that, but he could pile up on that by going back here with his queen. All right, do we attack his bishop? We could just attack the bishop, but then he could capture. Oh, that's not good either. Okay. Or do we just start breaking open his king side? All right, well, now it's my turn to sit here and think a little bit. Okay, we don't want to move our bishop because he'll be able to capture our knight. If our king captures, then the queen can capture this pawn with check, and that doesn't look too good. If we capture this pawn, what does he do then? Swing his queen over, or does he just capture? Then we would get another. Excuse me. All right, do we break this open? That is the question. Do we just capture here? Okay, if he captures and our bishop captures, he's probably going to pile up next. At least this pawn is keeping his knight out of here too. Okay. All right, well, do we bring this rook over? Because if he takes the knight, then he picks this pawn off. So I guess we're doing that. We're just going to go ahead and pick that off. All right, now we're in check, so what do we do next? We move over. All right. Well, do we want to block? No. He could just start pushing a pawn. Okay. So now, what are our options? We're in check. We don't want to block. We have to move. Can't move here. If we move here, okay, probably have to move back to here. All right, that's what we're doing, moving back that way. All right. Excuse me. Okay. Now, what does he do? Target this pawn? Or does he just capture, move his king over, then try and get a rook here lined up for a mate on the open G file. Now, we can't move our knight, or if we move this knight, there's a mate here. He could move here. Let's see. What if he captures the knight? Our bishop recaptures. I don't know. I'm thinking he's just going to move here, targeting the knight and the pawn at the same time. All right, well, at least we're hanging in there for the moment. Now the problem is, if he targets this knight and the pawn at the same time, then he might have a threat of just jumping down in here and delivering a mate. So how do we defend against that? Well, we could go ahead and jump up here and target his bishop. Perhaps. Target the bishop. The bishop could just slide back. Yeah, so quite a bit going on in this game. And also, I guess we have an option of pushing this pawn with a check. Oh, he could just no, he can't capture this pawn because of the bishop-queen battery. Okay, captures that way. Now, should we go ahead and capture there? Maybe, because then we could threaten to just move forward and pin our queen to his king and get rid of it. And that would kind of lessen some of the attack. And if not, we can still... he could move here, though, and attack. Oh, but then we could... Whew. Okay, I got to think about this one. All right. If we capture that, and his king jumps up here attacking our bishop, well then, what if we check? He could capture the bishop with the queen, though. Then we could jump over. I don't know if that works. We might have to retreat after that. Okay. Now we have the option of just attacking the queen here. No, we can't do that because of mate down there. So what do we do? go after this pawn, see what happens next. Then we can threaten to move up here and just pin his queen and trade off queens. All right, yep, so he does the move I expected. Now, if we check up here, then he could pick off crazy stuff here. Crazy stuff. Okay. So if we check his king and he picks off here, let's see, if we check his king and he picks this off, we swing back here and grab this. All right, the question is, do I have to retreat this bishop or do I because here's another problem. If the rook comes over here and threatens a mate in one, that is a problem. So if we jump up here with check, he captures, we capture. All right, yeah, this is the game decider here. So what does material look like? We're ahead by one pawn. If we jump up here and check, and the queen just picks this off, or would the king do that? Probably not, no. So the queen would pick that off. Oh, no, he's in check. So he would be in check. So that would give us some time. If the king picked that off, okay, I guess we're doing that. Check. So now what? Now what? All right, so he's in check. Options are to, capture the knight, but he probably won't want to do that. Or he has to move his king, and the only options are here or here. Ooh, okay. Well, that can allow us the opportunity to move with a discovered attack. And if it's a double discovered attack, he has to move the king again. So we could go here and take this pawn. What else? Do we pick this off? But then he could attack our queen. When he blocks. But what do we do? Do we have another attack on the... Okay, so he's ahead now. We could snatch up a piece here. do we go here with a double attack? All right, we really have to watch our time, and if we go here, if we go there, he could block. Oh no, we can just take that. All right, so I guess that's what we're doing. We're taking his bishop and attacking. So we'll go there with the discovered attack on his king, and then we can take his bishop now. And I don't know, then things are looking pretty good. But do we have a better move than just capturing his bishop? If we attack with our queen, he could ignore that and just capture here. So looks like it would be best to just capture the bishop. Let's see, capture the bishop, then we can check. So we go ahead and check. All right, but there could have been a better move, but I'm running low on time as usual, so so what do we want to do now? If he moves over here, we can just check him again. He could block with the queen, which I don't mind if we get rid of the queens, but I don't know. His king is kind of weak. Mine's a little bit better. But he could threaten to jump down here and threaten a mate. But, I mean, I guess I could move my bishop up. I don't know. It's looking okay for me. Okay, what are his options real quick? Block with the queen. Then we would probably want to... If he blocks with the queen, do we want to capture or do we want to continue some type of harassment? Okay. So he keeps them on the board. Now do we bring this bishop out? And if we do, where is best to place this bishop? All right, I'm thinking we go this way. All right, if we go that way, just centralize. We'll just centralize. Then we can get ready to try and go up here. Oh, okay, well that is interesting. That he's trying to run me out of time, I guess. So we'll check him. Then check him again. He's kind of trapped. All right. Then if we go up here and then hit him with the bishop, does that mate him? Ah, no, the bishop is not protected there. Okay. Do we go for the draw? That is the question. All right, well, we're running out of time. So we go there and block his path. And then, so we're threatening a mate here and we're threatening a mate here. So what can he do? He can capture. Crap. All right. If we go there. Then we can go wait a minute. Then we can go here. We go there. Then here. And then here. Well, I guess we're picking off material instead. Because now if he blocks with the queen, then we just capture and then pick off his rook. Okay, so we'll do that. Then we'll do that. We're attacking his knight. Where does his knight go? All right, the knight is headed down that way. So now we just drop back. All right. We'll go there. All right, so now he's just going to try and run me out of time. Oh, actually, here, we need to block that knight out. And then we can chase that knight. All right, so he's just trying to run us out of time, but we should be able, if we don't mess up, we should be able to win here. We'll just start picking off his pawns. All right, now we pick off his his knight. Okay, he just resigned. All right. So we got the win. We jumped up to 1659 in the rating. And that was a pretty tense game there. Whew. Okay, game review. We'll go over this game review, and you should stick around. If you just like watching the game, though, it's always good to try and do some kind of analysis, even if you just learn one thing from each game that you play. So let's see here. We played at 81.5 versus their 75.1. Oh, and it looks like I had a winning advantage earlier in the game that I missed. So this big spike here, something happened where I was winning earlier, then they were winning, and then we came back. So, I don't know, pretty tense back and forth game. And that's one of the problems when you play a crazy tactical game, that things can go up and down, and swing back and forth. All right, let's see here. No good or no great or brilliant moves. 5 inaccuracies I had versus their 2. I only had 2 mistakes, only, and they had 3. And then I had 2 misses. They had 1, but they had 2 blunders. So, all right, let's do this quick game review. And this says good job building a lead and not letting up. But I don't know, something, we have to see what that move was up there. So start the review. This was the Petrov's defense. So all book moves here. We're targeting this knight, where we threaten to maybe take it. Then if they capture with the pawn, we go up a pawn. Let's see here what happened next. All right, so man, it really blasts through those moves pretty quick, but it takes us to the highlights really fast here. So you missed an opportunity to win a queen. Oh, how would we have won a queen? Let's go back. Instead of that bishop move, how do we win a queen? I don't know. If there's an opportunity to win a queen here, that is a pretty tough tactic that I'm not seeing at the moment. How do we win his queen? This was a blunder, moving his queen here. So, oh man, no, okay, that doesn't work. I was thinking we could attack and then we're threatening a mate up here, but he could block with oh, well, yeah, that would win the queen. Unless, well, if we attack with our bishop, he could check us, capture our rook, checking us. Then we threaten up here again. Yeah, okay, that's it. Yeah, we move up here attacking the queen. If he, counterattacks our queen, we have this check threat. So some crazy tactics going on here. We'll take a look at that in the analysis, but that was the move. So best here for, well, I won't dig too deep into this here. We'll do the analysis right after the rest of this game review. But then it went to my miss when I should have brought my bishop to g5, I'm thinking. So yes, bishop to g5, attacking the queen and threatening to capture this rook with check up here. Even though he could block with a bishop, that would give us time to pick off the queen. So he would probably, well, I don't know, maybe capture our rook, but then our queen could capture and then renew this threat of a mate. And that would give us time to grab this, the queen. All right, on with this. Okay, that was not, so that was a mistake. It was, by pushing that g-pawn, it really let black get some momentum and attack going. Actually, he had a winning attack at one point. So I should not have loosened up my king side like this and gave him all these possibilities. Best would have been what? Just pushing this pawn forward and gaining space, controlling more squares here in the center. All right, anyway, next. This was a mistake. Now your pawn is isolated, which is a weakness. Okay, but I guess sometimes you can bluff your way through an attack where they start stopping what they're doing and thinking about what you're doing, and it can cause them to play the wrong moves. So this is a mistake. What would have been better here? Best would have been, to confront the bishop. Okay, more to look at in the analysis. So let's keep going here. This was the best response, going back this way with a discovered attack on the king. And then that allowed us to just start chasing the king around. But what was this back here? That is a blunder move. Yeah, I thought once he opened that up, oh, and it didn't like this move. Well, let's see what I should have done. Instead of that bishop move, I overlooked an opportunity to develop a rook off its starting square. Okay, so they wanted us to move this rook and attack here instead. All right. Well, okay. Okay, so instead of that move, let's see. This was a blunder. Best would have been what? Yeah, to trade off queens here, even though I was a pawn ahead at the time, which is probably why he didn't want to trade off queens. But even if he traded off queens, so I didn't have an attack, I only have 33 seconds on the clock, so that would have been tough. With a rook, 2 rooks, and this knight, he could start confusing the game with the knight like he tried to do at the end, but by then it was too late. So the queen checks, which is the best move, and it says there's a mate in 4, so obviously I didn't find this checkmate. He moved there. Now there's a mate in 3. So, oh, I probably should have, yeah, that's what I should have done. Brought my bishop up here, and then I could move my queen here and mate. Yeah, I overlooked that. I guess with 30 seconds on the clock, if I had a little more time, I would have hopefully seen this move. Check. Where can he go? Only to here. So, let's see. If we check, the only move he can make is to here, and then the queen goes to h7 and then mates him on f7 here. So that is a good move, but now it's mate in 5 again instead of 3. So best would have been, yeah, that move. Then he can only go here because the rook's cutting him off, and then we have queen to h7 check, and then mate over here on f7. All right. So in the game, we check him. He goes up here. We check him again, which is excellent, but now it's a mate in 6. And so he moves, check again, there. And that was an inaccuracy. So best would have been to check him again and then bring this bishop up and that mate again, which, hopefully I'd be able to see that if I had more time to think. But anyway, back to the end here. So we captured, which was excellent, but we could have done better. And that's what happens when you're using too much time in the opening. So, which is going to happen because I'm still learning this opening repertoire. And if you get a good set of openings down, that'll help you get through the opening and into the middle game without using a lot of time, and you'll hopefully be in an okay position. And then, you will not have used up as much time in the opening, and then you'll have a better middle game position, and that'll eliminate some time issues like we saw in this game. All right, so this says you really outplayed your opponent in that one. Both of you played an amazing opening. The middle game battle was fairly even. Then we had 1,800 versus his 1550. So 99.7 in the opening, so we played the opening pretty good, but they played better, 99.8. And then 68.4 middle game accuracy versus their 58.2. So yeah, both of us could have done a little better in the middle game there. Okay, we'll do a quick analysis just to see if the computer can uncover anything else. And then, well, let's see what the computer finds. So e4, e5, knight to f3, and knight to f6. This is the Petrov's defense. So if you're encountering this opening or you're playing against or playing with the Petrov, this will help you see what some of the moves are to make. Now, normally you can capture here. Another option is to play d4, but here let's see what the computer recommends. So they say the best move is to just go ahead and capture that pawn. Then here you want to be careful. You don't want to capture the e4 pawn, because then that can lead to problems if your queen attacks, and then leading to an attack on the knight and a discovered attack possible on the king. And depending what they do, you could go ahead a pawn or more if they make a mistake. But d6 is the move to play, and so the computer says that is the best move to go ahead and capture there, driving the knight back first, and then you can capture. So now, if you move your queen here, well, now they can just block with their queen and jump the knight back. And you could trade off queens. But we played d4, which is best, gaining space in the middle. Now, I see that some grandmasters these days, I think they played this in the candidates tournament. They had the Petrov where they play this move, d3, to drive the knight away and gain time. So that could be something to look into. I think I've even seen people play knight here to attack, and then if there's a capture, the pawn is pulled this way, but it opens up, you can develop your bishop and your queen is free to move. But in the game, we just gained space here, and the computer says that was the best move, probably. Unless you're really working on the opening book and studying this opening, there might be some other good options. So they do the same, keeping space equal, but they have this knight that's a little better than ours. So we attack the knight. They just develop their bishop the same as us. We castle, they castle. Our rook piles up on the knight. They defend. Although they like this bishop move here. Computer likes that move, but these moves are about the same, 0.48 versus 0.44. Okay, so next we played c4, which is the best move, and they played, I believe, the best move as well, c6 to defend this pawn. And now the computer shows knight to c3 as best. So that's what we played. Although here the computer changed its mind and wanted us to bring the queen out here. Well, that is an interesting option, bringing the queen over here, especially, I guess the knight is protecting this rook, but in the game, they captured. We captured back, of course, and now computer gives either rook captures on e1 here with check, and then we would capture with our queen, or h6 to keep the bishop and the knight out of, this g5 square, and to give the king, a future escape hatch, and to prevent the bishop from capturing here. You have the, we see the queen, the bishop, and the knight set up here. It makes me wonder if there's a possibility of the sacrifice of the bishop here. So anyway, it's their turn. So let's see what they do. They capture here. Now, it's showing the best move is bishop to g5. Attacking the queen here, which I don't know if I like that, because what if they play f6? Oh, okay, if they play that, then we could capture the pawn with check. So, bishop to g5, I wouldn't have thought of that. Do we have the option of sacrificing here? So if we capture, king captures, we jump up with check, and then I don't think we have enough after that. If the king drops back, and then our queen jumped up here, there's the option to capture here with check, yeah, so, oh, and that might be a mate then. All right. Well, in the game, we capture the pawn, which is the second best move. They really wanted this bishop move, which would develop, attack the queen. We could take a quick look at that. So they like this move. The recommendation is to just go ahead and capture here. Queen would have to capture, of course, and then bringing the bishop over to f8. Or bishop, bringing the queen over to f8. And then, then finally we would capture this. All right, so that is a possibility. Now, in the game, we captured the pawn. They pin here, which is excellent, but they wanted this capture once again. So we play this to block, and they wanted that attack on the queen here. So now the game is pretty close to being even. We kind of let our advantage slip away. So they want this move. Bishop to g5, and then you would have what? Queen to d7, and then we should capture up here. And then of course the queen would recapture, and then we could bring our queen up to the center and kind of guard this knight. All right, in the game we played bishop to e3, an inaccuracy. And what did they play? Well, they followed it up with a blunder. So now we'll get to take a little deeper look at why this was a blunder. So with this, we should attack the queen. And the best move is knight to d7 to just let the queen be captured. After we also trade off a rook. So now that looks bad. Is it any better to capture here first? It's about the same. So the other option is queen to e6. Yeah, that looks even worse. So yeah, the problem is this threat of a mate up here. Well, it's not a mate threat, but it's a threat of a capture with check. They would have to block. All right, so let's see. If you played rook takes e1, the queen would recapture, and then they could block, well, not block, but bring the knight out here, and it would give us time to pick off the queen. So it looks like no matter what, that queen is falling after this bishop to g5 move. Because we have this threat of a capture of the rook with check. Let's say they do that. Okay, then our queen captures here. Then yeah, it just does not look good. Knight to d7. Maybe you go there. Then finally you're able to pick off the queen, although the computer likes this move here. But then you can pick that off with the bishop. So all right, well, yeah, and then you have, let's see, bishop takes e6. Well, they keep the bishop pair that way. And now the recommendation is queen to b1 to target this pawn. But you get the idea. At this point, you'd have so much material, you'd be ahead by +6 of material. Man. All right. So in the game, they make this blunder, and we just did not see that crazy series of attacks there. Man, that was a big missed opportunity right in the beginning there. So, well, I guess you can't see everything in chess, of course. Okay, bishop to e2. A missed opportunity. So, what do they respond with? Let's take a look. They played knight to d7, and computer says that's an excellent move, but it preferred h6 there. Okay, so we chase this bishop, which is the best move. They retreat, although the computer likes a retreat back this way. And now, let's see. This is where I played queen to d2. It actually likes queen to c2 maybe better. Let's see. We go there. Now it says that's an inaccuracy. Oh, it did want g4 immediately there. Huh. Okay. Well, let's take a look at that. g4 instead. And now it gives rook capturing the bishop as the best option here, which is pretty interesting. And it says the game would be about even if that happened. You get rid of the bishop pair, but I don't know. That pulls our pawn into the center, but it is backwards at the moment, and this bishop would move up here. They would probably just play bishop to g6 if we attack their bishop. And now, let's see, recommendation is once again bishop to g5, attacking that queen. And then, oh man, yeah, this would be tricky. Where does the queen go? Queen to e6 still keeps the game even. Now, what can we do? Bishop to d3, attacking their bishop and the queen at the same time. So queen to d5, attacking the knight, and then we should trade off here. Anyway, you get the picture, so I don't want to dig too deep, and let's finish this video up. So queen to d2 was played. They played h6, which looks like it's the best move. And now now g4 is a mistake here. So pretty interesting. g4 is a mistake because we no longer have this bishop to g5 move to attack the queen. All right, so computer wanted that move, just gaining space in the queen side and controlling this d5 square a little better. Now the recommendation is c5. Gives black a slight edge. c5, then we should capture, and it would help bring their knight forward. Okay, I'm not going to dig into that one. Let's see, what happened here. g4. In this position, the bishop, retreats back, of course, and now we play another inaccuracy with g5. So instead, they want a knight retreat. Okay, and I didn't think of that. Retreating the knight and letting this other pawn push forward, perhaps. So if we played that, then it just gives knight to b6 as best. Threatening to drop your knight in here, maybe. Although you could play this move and keep it out of there. Or a5, gaining space. All right, so it says knight to b6 is best. Then we should play c4 to keep that knight from jumping to d5. Then rook at a to d8 looks like it's the best. Rook at a to d8, just lining up on our queen, moving to the center. And then we should play bishop to f1 and then reposition probably up here to help guard our king a little better. All right, well, that is what I should have done. But I played g5, started to get a little risky here. I mean, I guess it kind of paid off in the end, but I don't know. Against a higher rated player, it would probably have backfired. So g5, they respond with a mistake here. Queen to f5 would have been better. And I was thinking that they would do that. So when they moved over here, it surprised me a little bit. They should have just immediately moved here and targeted this pawn. Okay, and black would have an edge at this point. So I would have to jump up here to protect the pawn. And now, what does it recommend? Queen to e4. So I guess they didn't want to block the path of their bishop. But, oh, now it says b5 should be played. Just immediately playing b5 to prevent this c4 pawn push here. Okay, let's move on. Try and keep this video rolling here. Okay, queen to e6 was played, which is a mistake. Now, did we take advantage of it? No. We played the third best move, king up to g2. Looks like we should not have played that. We should have played, oh man, yeah, I didn't even think about this move. And sometimes these are hard to see. The retreating bishop move is the best option. Oh man, yeah, that would have guarded the pawn. It would have let me swing up here to help protect this knight if the bishop pins it. So, the continuation would be what? Oh, maybe this is why I didn't play it, because now, it doesn't like that move. It's saying knight to b6 would have been better. But if they played this, I still have the option of, jumping up knight to h4 and not trading that knight. Okay. I don't know. That looks a little bit iffy. So, but it says that's best. Knight to h4. Black still has a slight lead only if they play queen to e7. Queen to e7. Oh, and maybe they're going to think about backing this bishop up, bringing the queen over to d6 and trying to threaten a mate down here. But that would take a little bit of time to do that. All right, back to the game. We move our king up, which is a miss. Black just stays in the lead here. So now bishop pins this knight to the king. But best would have been bishop to f5, targeting this pawn. And then, I would think that then I should bring a rook over to here to guard it. But, so let's, we could take a quick look at that. If they do that, piling up on the pawn, well, it looks like then knight retreating and defending is the best move. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, back to the game. We had bishop to e4, pinning the knight to the king. So I go ahead and capture, which is a mistake. So, and that looks like a game-losing mistake there. Instead, I should have played, bishop to f5. And then they should capture like this. And instead of capturing the pawn, we should knock out this bishop, which is aimed at our king side. The queen would go ahead and capture. And then now the recommendation is bishop to d3. We could go after this pawn, but it doesn't like that as much. And that would keep material even, but it gives the edge to black. All right, so in the game, this is the mistake that we made. We captured the pawn up here. They played queen to g6, which is the third best move. Better was queen to f5. So queen to f5 would have been a better move. So they played queen to g6, which was still good, checking us. So we found the best move, king to f1. Yeah, because you don't want to go over here. Well, you can't go to h2 because of the bishop lined up here. And if you go here, well, then the knight is pinned by, and the bishop's lined up. So anyway, f1 is where we went. And now they make a mistake. They capture this pawn over here. Best would have been knight to b6 or bishop to f5. They're saying bishop to f5 would have been the best move. So bishop to f5. Ooh. Yeah, that looks a little dangerous. We would have to play knight to g1 to defend and prevent a checkmate there. So knight to g1 would have to be played, and the recommendation is now instead of knight to b6, bringing the knight into the game on f6, and then we should move up here and attack their bishop and kind of help defend our king side. All right, so in the game, they went pawn hunting, which you have to watch out. Sometimes when you go after pawns, there are actually better moves that you overlook when you take time to go after the pawns. All right, so they capture. The best move is to capture with the bishop, which we found. And now the game is getting closer to even. Black still has the edge, but they play this move, a mistake. So bishop to f5 would have been better. Bishop up here to f5, threatening this mate over here. But that would allow us to trade off queens, so that's probably why they didn't do it. Because, and this is kind of what I was looking at. We could go here, try and trade off queens. Ooh. They still keep the edge with this rook move, lifting this rook up. And then we shouldn't trade queens yet. We should play rook at E over to B1. Wait a minute. Then they could pick us off over here. I don't know if I like that move. Rook at E to B1 would let this bishop just capture. Bishop to C4. Attacking maybe. All right, let's look at, it says bishop to c4 is pretty good, just attacking. Let's see what the computer says. Nope, it wants that rook at e to b1 move. So if you do that, that looks pretty bad. The bishop should capture. Yeah, see, they would capture. Then if you well, now it's saying they should check here. Man, I don't know. There's just a lot going on. It looks like black would keep a slight edge there. Okay, moving on. Bishop captures. The king moves up here, which is a mistake. And now it allows us to play the best move that keeps white in the lead, check here. Although now the computer wants us to retreat back. It's saying that's the best move. But this move starts an attack. The best option is king up to h8. But they have a miss here. So let's look at king to h8. If they would have gone there, which might have been what I kind of looked at in the game, then we have, oh man, it recommends bishop to c4, threatening to capture the pawn and fork these two pieces. Man, and that's the only move that would have worked in that position. You know, and maybe I wouldn't have found that. Bishop to c4, bishop to d5, blocking, and then rook captures. Now the game is a little closer to even, but rook captures or bishop to d3, attacking the queen. You know, maybe that would be the best thing to play. Queen to h5, threatening to capture here with a check. Oh, it doesn't like that. It's saying the pawn push would have been better. Okay, you get the idea. I don't want to dig too deep. I tend to do that. We'll get into an interesting line, and then you just end up looking at everything. All right, we have a capture here, and that was the missed opportunity. So the best move, and the only one that works, is to capture with a discovered check by the queen. So now, let me see. The one other thing I was looking at is capturing up here, but that doesn't work. That's not even in there in the top three. So we have to capture that. And then I was thinking, oh, the bishop could block here, but it would be unprotected, and I could just capture it. So that's why this move works. We get our piece here, get our bishop back, and we have an attack going. So my opponent plays the best move, king up to g7, and then we have bishop to d3 or knight takes d6. So we played knight takes d6. What was the other option? Oh, this bishop move, just lining up on the queen. So we played that. Oh, and it actually likes that bishop move better. Just line up on the queen with a discovered attack. So the best thing now would be queen to f5. f5, threatening to attack here. Oh, and the computer once again changed its mind. It actually wants this move. And here we should play king to g1. Man, that's starting to look dangerous. They recommend b8, retreating that bishop or capturing the knight. But our king is kind of open here, as is theirs. Okay, well, let's see here. We'll go back to what happened in the game. Knight captures the bishop, queen captures, which is best, and now we have the check. So the attack starts. They play king to f8, which is a mistake. Queen to g6, blocking would have been better. But if they blocked with their queen, the options are to retreat back or to capture. And we're ahead by a pawn, so that's probably why they decided not to do that. We could just retreat back and then wait and see what they do, and that's what the computer recommends, something like that. But if we do that, I don't know, that kind of maybe it waits to see what that knight is going to do. Now the computer, once again, it changes its mind and said we should have just captured there. So if we captured, their best option is to capture with the pawn to kind of be able to stop this passed pawn. Then a4. We should march forward, trying to get rid of our isolated pawn here if we can. And then knight develops to f6. All right, back to the game. We had this mistake, or inaccuracy, I should say, with a king move up to here. So now, what did I do? I played bishop to d3, and it didn't like that move. So bishop to d3 is an inaccuracy. Rook at a to b1 is what is recommended. So rook at a to b1. They should play b5, gaining space and protecting this pawn. Now it's saying b6 would have been better, which does kind of prevent this back, keeps this pawn from being backwards. So b6, and it might let you push forward here to attack in the future. And now bishop to d3. Okay, so they just wanted you to put this bishop or this rook on a little better position before you move the bishop. And now, once again, indecisive computer, it's saying go to f3 instead. Okay, but in the game, we just immediately move bishop to d3, and they play a blunder move of this, allowing us to start checking their king. So, not good here, not good. What should they have played? Looks like queen to f6 here, attacking our queen. And here the recommendation is h4. Maybe queen to g3, but let's see, h4 gets this pawn moving. Now it's saying f4? No way. You'd think you'd want that pawn to shield you a little bit, but it's saying f4 is even better. So if we do that, rook at a to d8, getting the rook to the center. Then we should play now h4. Or will the computer change its mind? No, it likes that. So then c5, threatening to break things open here a little bit. Then we should capture. Rook captures, although now they're saying a bishop move would have been better. But let's go back here. You get the idea. Even with this, white would be ahead. So the blunder move, there's a mate in 5. So we start start off correctly, and the king can only go here or here. So first of all, if here there's a mate in 4, but if he goes here, what do? Bishop to h7. King can go where? If he goes king to f7, then bishop or queen checks, I mean. So I don't know. I'll show you the mate in 3 first. You go here, king to h8, then bishop to g6 check. King can only go here, check. King goes to f8 and mate. So dangerous combination with the bishop and the queen, and because this rook is guarding the e7 square, it prevents the king from trying to escape over that way. All right, so if we go back a little bit, let's see, king to g8, and we check that way. Of course, if they went to f7 down here, it would be even worse, because now we have bishop to g6. Where does the king go? The only option is here, check, and then we have a mate over here. Same kind of thing. All right, so back to the game. Queen to h6, and they move up here. Once again, we should have attacked with the bishop. And then the only place they can go is here, check, over, and mate. So we overlooked that in time crunch. And they move here, we start checking. I was running out of time, trying to get some time back on the clock, and I made a mistake here. Better move would be to chase the queen and set up that queen bishop checkmate, or check with the queen and set up the bishop queen checkmate. All right, but in the game, this allows the queen to come up here and help guard. So now we check, king comes over, and instead of capturing there, it looks like it preferred this bishop to h7 move. So that, then king down to f7, check, king to f8, the only square he can go to, queen to h6, and king back to f7, bishop to g6, king can only go to g8, then we have queen to h7. So you get the idea. They go here, and now what? Queen to h8. Then we would just go ahead in some material, which is kind of what happened in the game. All right, the final few moves. We capture the rook. So we're in this position. We capture the rook. Rook captures. Now we attack the king. He moves over. We check, which is best. The only thing he can do is block with his queen. But now we just capture, which is best. He captures, and we pick off his rook. So the game just continued with knight to b6. And then he tried to maybe run me out of time and confuse things. So he goes here. I wanted to centralize my bishop or my rook to get it up into the game, and check. We can pick off some pawns, but first I thought I would attack his knight, and we just start picking off material now until it's just not looking good, and he resigned here. Okay. What did we learn in this game? Well, a lot of things about tactics, and maybe attacking when it wasn't the best position to attack under when I started moving those pawns forward, or maybe I didn't move them at the right time according to the computer. But if you're in a little bit of trouble, don't give up. Maybe you can come back, as it showed in this game. I missed a great opportunity to win as queen, and then I got in trouble and was actually losing, but held on and was able to come back. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments with questions, requests on any future videos you would like to see, anything you want. And thank you for watching. Have a super chess day.